I just want to talk you through the day in the life of a board director to give you some insight into what a typical day looks like. Because I think there's a bit of a myth that it's a little bit of a glamorous kind of gig, but the reality is there's quite a lot of hard work. So first and foremost, I'm on a not-for-profit board at the moment. I am on duty 24/7. I just assume I'm constantly monitoring, looking at things to do with the business, the entity, and I'm constantly in contact with either the CEO or various board members about various matters. We have a schedule of when our formal board meetings are taking place. Now, there's only 6 board meetings per annum, but there are some committee meetings that happen in between, and it's a complete myth that that's all you have to do to be a board director. So each day I'm checking my communication, so I'll go to my inbox and see if there's any formal communication about the organisation, any questions, any documents being shared prior to the next board meeting. I'm personally making some inquiries at the moment. There's a couple of areas where I have some concerns, and so I'm following that up with the relevant board directors, the chairman and the CEO where appropriate. I don't interfere in the day-to-day operation of the business, but I am monitoring the business. So I'm across all their social media feeds and I'm tracking various activity. I'm tracking their communication. In particular, there's a part of the business that's not operating particularly well at the moment. There's a particular facility that's underperforming, and that may result in a board decision coming up. And so I'm monitoring that on a regular basis. I've also set up Google alerts, and I've set up creditor alerts, so I know if there's any problems coming up in the business that maybe I should be aware of. And I'm really, finger on the pulse. So every day I'm doing something to do with this board, even though I don't have a formal sort of board meeting coming up till the end of November, and my committee meeting is coming up in about 2 weeks' time. Now, for this committee meeting, I have quite a bit of work to do. So I'm putting together a board paper. I'm starting to put together a discussion paper, which will eventually morph into a board paper for decision for the board to consider at the next board meeting. So I'm starting to formulate those ideas. And as a result, I've had a meeting with one of the committee members and I've socialized some of those ideas, worked out what would work, what wouldn't work. Together, we worked on the agenda for the upcoming committee meeting. So there's a bit of an exchange there. So all in all, I would estimate that I'm allocating at least 30 minutes to an hour per day just on little activity, monitoring and so on. And obviously when certain activity is coming up in the boardroom, there may be a heightened level of activity around that. So I know after this next board meeting that we have coming up at the end of November, we're going to have a strategy session. Now that will take a lot of planning to make that a successful meeting, and you would expect each of the board members to be doing work before you come together for the strategy session. So good board members are extremely proactive. They're preempting problems. They're guessing where some of the issues might be. They've got gut feel, intuition where there could be something going on. So they're always investigating where appropriate. You're looking for opportunities to forge relationships with your other board members. So, I like to touch base with, at least all of the board members once a quarter and have a little private dialogue. And I'm about to, because this is a relatively new board for me, I'm about to go out to those board members and say, look, could we have a 15-minute chat? I'd love to meet you in person, one-on-one prior to the next board meeting. And, really just kind of putting all the effort in that is required. Also, I think it's important that people can see that you're being visible. So I do make the point of making a few emails to the CEO and to other board members so people know you're being active during the month. There's not this dead silence. Now, I do notice that there are some board members who are very quiet in between the board meetings. Board members who maybe just turn up to the board meeting itself and then often don't even talk that much in the board meeting, don't ask pertinent questions, just accept all the board papers as per what's been presented without asking any questions or inquiring about things or, wanting to debate certain matters. That is not a next generation board director. A next generation board director is very active, very involved, taking their responsibilities very seriously every step of the way. And then just finally on the board paper matter, hopefully they come out quite a decent amount of time before the board meeting. I personally like to get these printed out wherever possible so I can actually sort of physically read through them. Or if I'm doing it online, I've got a board portal called Board Pro. I can go in there and I can sort of read it quite effectively, and then I'll make my notes and my follow-ups and things that I want to sort of query or things that I have concerns about. I also have a sort of philosophy that every board meeting you should try and bring something positive to the table. So it shouldn't just be a Spanish Inquisition and trying to go through and pick holes in things and make the CEO feel like he's on playing defense. I'm always looking for opportunity. So, a proactive board member is bringing opportunities to the table, whether that be introductions that they can make, connections that they can establish. In this case, with this particular not-for-profit board, we're looking at fundraising. So, what can I bring to the table in terms of a new business partner, a new corporate sponsor? So you've got to also come to the table with positive opportunities for the organisation to grow and be successful, and not just play defence. So defence is your default. You have to be across the numbers. You have to be across the pain points. You have to be across where everything's going. You also have to balance this with being across your chief executive and making sure that that individual is humming along well, going well, not stressed out, not overworked, not prioritizing correctly, taking their annual leave, doing their professional development and so on. So there has to be someone on the board who's taking a particular interest in the CEO's health and well-being, but I think it's everyone's responsibility, but I do also factor that in, and then ultimately really trying to take that opportunity, that business organisation forward. So that's a typical day in the life. So every day I'm doing something on a board and I love it. It's great work. It's very interesting work, but it is 24/7 and I take it extremely seriously, and that's one of the aspects of board work. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a set and forget. You're being very active, but in a non-executive director capacity, and thinking about the strategy and how you manage that and manage the risks in the business really effectively and govern really well. So good governance and having all the systems and the processes in place to give you the confidence that things can be picked up well before they can become a really, really serious problem.